Good day, Industrial Advisor listeners, and thank you for tuning in. If you have not subscribed, please do so by clicking subscribe wherever you podcast. Click the like button and hit the bell if you want notifications of when we put up new content. Leave us a comment about anything we discuss here today or general comments about the show. Now, let's get into it.
Welcome to our Industrial Advisors podcast. You have Bill Condon and Matt McGregor. We're doing a 5-minute Friday today. Happy Friday. Today's topic is going to be renewals and the current state of renewals right now in the market and trends that we're seeing. And I think I would start by saying, anytime there's a little bit of uncertainty going on in the economy, there tends to be more renewals.
For sure.
When you look compared to years where everything's booming, right? There's a little more caution in the marketplace and tenants tend to do the easier path. And that's, hey, let's stay the course, let's renew, assess this 3-5 years down the road. So we're seeing that. We're starting to see that right now. But Matt, what's your opinion in today's environment on renewals? And is it better for tenants to go out and do a long-term deal right now or a short-term?
Yeah, you made a great point. When the economy slows down, people don't want to spend money on the move. They're not growing as much, so they don't want to take down a bunch of extra square footage that they're not, maybe not going to use. So they're certainly a little more conservative. So going to your question, short-term or long-term, it's interesting because I actually think both landlords and tenants want to do shorter term right now. And it depends on what you think the future is. In the industrial sector in the US, we've gone on quite a run, for almost 10 years, depending on the market you look at, of rent growth, right? So we're in no man's land from that perspective. And typical runs are 4 to 7 years, right? So to have this run this long, if you look at it statistically, it would tell you that rents would stabilize and or maybe even go down because it's cyclical before they go back up. Mm-hmm. Right. So from that perspective, a tenant would say, gosh, maybe I do a shorter term renewal because we might be going into a trough here. But landlords are very bullish, saying, great, do the short term renewal, because I would say most landlords are way more bullish than tenants on rent growth. Right. So I would say the trend is probably do shorter, 3 to 5 years. Landlords are willing to do that. During the boom of COVID, there was so much business that they were really only looking for that 7 to 10 year. I think they will do shorter term deals. And I think for tenants to lock in long-term deals in maybe a non-growth, area is a little risky. So maybe shortening the term a little bit and being a little bit more flexible so that if you start to boom again, you have the ability to move or expand.
Yeah, you hit it on the head. I think the flexibility factor for tenants is the reason to do the short-term deal. Because if you look at it, the real question is, do you think that rent's going to go up higher than 4% annually, right? 4% annual bumps are what market is today in our market. I personally think that if you're a tenant, I would do a longer, I would do a 5 or 7 if you're comfortable with that space, because I just believe that, rental growth is going to be higher than 4% annual growth. And so if you can lock it in now, I would still do that, even though we're starting to stabilize on the rent growth category. Concessions on renewals. In the past, when we started, we'd always look for a turnkey TI package. And now in almost every single deal, we're just seeing TI allowances, which is starting to be the trend.
Well, I think it's starting to be the trend because pricing, with all the challenges we had, the supply chain and labor issues, I think, just to go in and say, hey, we're going to turnkey this. Well, the pricing's changing so fast. That is, I think, making landlords understandably nervous about agreeing to that without a full knowledge of exactly what that means and an agreed to space plan and 2 or 3 bids to make sure that those numbers are locked in. So I think landlords have heavily been pushing allowances over turnkey, during these last few years. And I think that trend will continue until we see some stabilization, both on pricing and availability of labor for folks to come in and do that work reasonably.
Yeah, no, that's right. It's an interesting trend that we will continue to follow, but we certainly are seeing more renewals than what we typically see in the marketplace. And That'll change eventually, but it'll be an interesting topic to continue to follow. So thank you for listening to our 5 Minute Friday. Have a great weekend.